Okay, we're starting with a company. I don't know if I know it. Yes, I do know it. It's NVIDIA. Video 3 of 3. Thank you very much. Okay, so NVIDIA, on Sunday night, last Sunday night, I shared the idea that it might have a super spike, and it did that. So that's 3 weeks in a row, I believe. NVIDIA bailed out the market when it needed it. Not like the market was in deep Bandini, but the minute the bears had a couple of red ticks going for them and they approach levels that needed to hold in the stock market, out of the blue, one day the whole market was red. I believe it was last Monday. Out of the blue, NVIDIA goes up 4%, the next day 4%, and then off to the races. So it did super spike. It was the toss-up between it and Apple. They both did a lot of work. NVIDIA did a little bit more. So now, nothing against the business itself. It is so underpriced if you consider that this trajectory can continue. So far it hasn't slowed down. And when the CEO tells you insane demand, you can't short that. So buy the dip in NVIDIA if you're not long, for sure. Where anything below 124 now becomes a bargain. The next time it falls to 114 like it did last week or recently, jump all over it. How? Sell puts spreads, buy shares, buy calls. Not all in, just enough to be involved. If I look left, let me take out all the lines. If I look left, this is where it has faltered before. Now, combine that with the statement that the QQQ is lagging the S&P and the Dow. It has not made a new all-time high. And it's only 2% away. Why wouldn't it take this stock above its prior fail in order to get that done? So if I were a guessing man, they will burst this one, like the super spike I told you about would continue. And we will push against new highs on the QQQ this week. Unless someone pulls a trigger, and you know what I mean. We'll see. Okay, so everything I said about NVIDIA applies here. This one tells you it's a short. So, wait. Yeah, this is NVIDIA. Yeah. NVO looks like a buy the dip opportunity. I don't know anything about it, but short term looks like a buy the dip opportunity. Let me go to a daily chart. My only concern is this little gap down here. So they might go. I don't buy puts for gaps. It just tells me that they might be selling rallies over the last couple of months, 3 months, in order to get to that gap. So you do have a lot of sellers at 126. You know what? It would be a good entry point, a retest of 112, and they might overshoot. But if I get in at 112, at least I'm close to the neckline, the gap. 112 is a harmonic optimal price for this green M, you see. So if they double tap it, especially, that would be a good entry point on this company. P&L is fantastic. So I'm going to put an alert here, and I'm going to say HOP daily. So I know what that is. It could rally all the way to 130, but I'm just giving you lines and potential price action. OKTA was a buy the dip moment, and it should be headed into 86 unless something hiccups it. There are a lot of resistance lines, but over time, it was not a bad entry. It was a good entry below 75. And if it dips below 75, I think that opportunity is still there. I think so. It's a good hold. Same here. You have higher lows, lower highs, pinching. And if the P&L is okay, and if they hold 66, they might end up at 80. That's the kind of trade comment. But if you're entering for the long term as an investment, it's not a bad starting point either. Oracle, this is not an obvious entry point. In fact, I may want to short it, but I don't know anything about it. So I need to re-educate myself. I know it's a database company, but I don't know how it plays into this world. I'm intrigued. So I'm going to get into looking at it. It might be a cheap put to buy. I'm not sure. A call to sell for February and buy put or something like that. Like without any money out of pocket shorting it. Oxy, not an obvious entry point. The more it approaches 57, the more difficult it is to justify an entry. Buy the dip, yes. So set your alerts for 52 or lower to buy the next dip. You could be heading up to 58 or 59, but look at 60. That seems just like freaking solid concrete. Good P&L. What is going on? Yeah, I wouldn't touch this. This is one of those mystery where the P&L is fairly stable, and then it's trading like it's going out of business. So, I mean, it's okay to invest in it, banking on the support to hold at 7. Yeah, sell puts to own shares. Yeah, as an investment. But I would only do half the position. What if it loses 7? It could go to 4. We don't know. We literally don't know. So only half the position from an investment perspective. Pinterest. I don't know why I lost my appetite for this stock. I think there are a lot of sellers at 37, even more at 40. So how much money can you make from here to then? Let that drive your decision-making process. So as an investment, it's probably not that bad to hold, but they better show some good stuff in metrics or P&L or something. Right now, they're there. Rinse and repeat. So show me improvements in the P&L or improvements in the metrics. This looks insurmountable. Palantir, nothing's insurmountable. So this was a buy from forever. And if you hold it as an investment. If you're looking to invest in it, I mean, you waited so long, make sure you know how to do it without money out of pocket, Definitely not for me, folks. I love the company. I would not buy it up here. This is the definition of nope. And I know there's some criticism like, okay, you told me this since 40. No, but I worded it really well, didn't I? I said buy every dip, and it dipped, and people didn't buy it. And then the same people are asking me to buy it up here. It was like, okay, when you asked me at 30, I said pick it up below 28 or the closer to 25 the possible. And it did that, and you didn't do it. And now you're caving to your feelings of FOMO, and now you want to buy it. Go ahead and buy it, and then tell me how it works out for you. Maybe you make money, and I would be clapping for you. If I'm not long this company, I would buy the dip and step up to the plate on the next dip. There are ways to do it using options that leave room for wiggle, and if you didn't do it before, doing it now, it's a lot more dangerous. Companies on rails, but not that great of a rail. Okay, so this P&L is not as good as NVIDIA by a long shot. It's a good P&L, good management, good forecast, but this is not even close to being like on the worst day of NVIDIA P&L, and the stock is better than NVIDIA. So what's going to happen to these people that bought it up here when they see their price come into action? Like if I bought it here and this came here last week, I couldn't sell it fast enough. I'm just saying. PayPal, not a good entry point from a trading perspective. From an investment perspective, if you bought the dip, you did great. I don't understand this P&L. I traded it all the time, and hands off for me right now. I don't understand this. I was saying the same thing on the way down on 2022 when we were long and trying to get out of the positions for profit, and we did. But it was a struggle. So what's going on? Honestly, somebody tell me what's going on. How could it be at $300 and now at $80 and it looks like it's going to the moon? Check it out. This is $80 now. That's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. So technically speaking, you have these candles you have to deal with. So tell me what happens around 86. I think it's a buy to dip moment on this one. The closer to 72, the better. RBLX was a buy to dip, but it was only there for like 10 minutes. The closer it gets to 43, 44, it's not for me. I think it reverts lower and it goes to 35. That's my feeling. And if you lose 35, you'll probably go to 31. And if you lose 30, well, let's not talk about it. But the closer you get to 43 or 44 would be you missed it completely. Restoration Hardware. 350 looks insurmountable. Look left. I would not be long into 350, as good of a trigger as it would be to get to 410. It's just not for me. Buy the dip next time. Look at the bus you could drive through right here. Anything into 280 would be fine or lower. Southern Copper, if you bought the dip, you did great. From a trading perspective, that's an exit point. Okay, if you're an investor and you sold covered calls, perfect. That's what you should be doing. Putting your assets to work. And next time it dips down to 102 or 99, 98, add or start, whichever. If you're not long, consider it under 106. Shopify, almost exactly the same comments as SCCO. buy the dip into 71-ish or 65-ish. And technically speaking, can get to 55 or 54, but I wouldn't hold my breath anytime soon. I definitely would not start longs here. Look left. It was a disaster scenario, trading-wise. Investment-wise, if you're holding it, hold it. Sell covered calls. Schlumberger, they're selling rallies very consistently. So this is the top end of the rally. This may be it. This could have been the bottom. I don't know. So I would need them to hold 42.50. If not, I'm out because I think they're going to 37. They're selling rallies. Don't take my opinion for it. Here, let's go from here to here. Oh, there we go. I already have that. Check it out. So yeah, they're tracing this guy out. So tell me that they hold the yellow path. Schlumberger. And then silver. So gold is in a breakout, all-time high. Silver is trying to catch up. And this red W, is it a red W? No, it's an ABCD. It's close. So I like the super spike concept. Seasonally, I'm told it's a good time to be long silver. I don't like this candle. So as long as it's below this candle, I think the door for 26 is open, which would be normal. They're buying a dip into an ascending channel. So SMCI, if the stock market is where it's at, SMCI should be higher, right? Yeah, it's not. Why not? I could be long. This thing could be going to 68. I don't want to get you out. But if it is going to 68, I'm pretty sure NVIDIA is higher, and I would rather be long NVIDIA. But this one has more visible runway. My only problem is all these red lines you see, these are moving averages I placed before, and the machines will see them as resistance. I'm confident that it's not going to be easy running to, say, 59. Look left, 53 is going to be a monster of a rally to break out of that. Okay, just be careful. Synopsis. This looks like a difficult zone starting at 550. 550 to 580 is going to be difficult. So buy the dip into 490, 500. SOFI, definitely not for me. If there is a problem on the consumer level, this is the company that's going to be slapped the hardest. That's my assessment. Do your own homework. Technically speaking, look left. This has not been a good place to start longs. Also, technically speaking, it looks like a breakout, but they're buying dips. So buy the next dip into 820 or 8. I gave you investment ideas and trading ideas. Tile. Don't know what that is. Whatever it is, not for me up here. So anything above 21 is a monster fail. So the closer you get to 21, the closer you get to a difficult area. So it's a short, well, it's an avoid until you take out 1980. What is this? Whoa. Okay, yeah, not for me. Toll Brothers. Every week, every day, I think this is a short, the whole industry, and they've held. Listen, this is a short, but golly, very resilient industry. So I don't advise you. If it's a cheap put that you want to buy or a put spread, you want to try some cheap put butterfly to get you down to 140, do it. It might be fun. I don't know a lot about the industry, but I know real estate is in trouble. So we'll see. Tractor Supply. Questionable P&L growth. You know, it's not a bad P&L, but the stock is, look at this, better than NVIDIA. I always say that because NVIDIA's P&L is better than anything I've ever seen at that level. Therefore, I always say, why is this stock doing better than a company that has the best financials we've ever seen? So that is a good statement, better than NVIDIA. It's a short. It's a buy to dip. How about that? Down to 284. TSM, I believe, reports earnings in 4 days. By the way, you need to watch what it has effect over the other. I've had situation where this one, out of the blue, reports something weird, and then the rest of the chip sector responds, stocks, and up or down. So I'm not saying be careful down. I'm saying the Qs need to break out, right? They need leaders. So this might provide the spark in 4 days. Look at the P&L. Look at the profits on this one. whoa, it's something scary, right? Scary good. So what are the odds that they say something bad? Very little. So be careful shorting the markets. Technically speaking, this is a buy the dip into 175. TTD. It was a buy the dip. I don't know if I triggered it or not. Up here, it is the opposite of buy the dip. It's an NOPE, not an obvious point of entry. ULTA screamed at me like, hey, buy me. I'm falling into a good support zone. It is. So I would be long ULTA through a credit put spread or sold puts to own shares. Or I could own shares for the long term as long as I can double my position. UUP, I told you it's so long. I wish I hadn't gotten on top of it. And I don't think here it is a long. And if it does break out of 29.20, good Lord, we're not having rate cuts ever again. We're done with rate cuts, which means that the U.S. market, something in the U.S. changed if it happens. I don't think it should happen. The only reason why, well, one of the main reasons why a stock rallies fast, not a stock, a currency, is when the central banks of that country is fiscally responsible, which means they're not cutting rates. Okay, they're not doing what China's doing. So if you were long the UAP on my word, I would have exited last week. All right, let's see how it behaves. Not an obvious entry point. I'll leave it at that. Where? I don't know. Anywhere below 28. WD, Waker and Dunlop. That's a bearish chart. It might be hunting 102, maybe 100. XLV, Superstar, like NVIDIA, has sporadically, this is a good portion of the S&P, so it can move the S&P. XLF, XLV are 2 stars the last couple of weeks, actually last couple of months. So they could be headed to 155. And the scenario of losing 150 has gotten more difficult these days because we cannot sustain 2 red ticks for more than a few hours. So the odds of a breakout are still okay. It's almost, what I'm saying is it's almost as hard it is to lose 155, 150 than it is to break out of 158, which seems a mile away, right? So we'll see what happens there. It is important what happens to this stock for the S&P. YELP, really? Yeah, I don't know what to say. It is in a support zone that extends through 32, and you better hold 32. If you're investing in it, yep, you might get 38 or 41. Zscaler, too late to get long. It was a buy the dip moment, and this thing runs fast, I told you, and runs long, I told you. So there is no way I would say short it because it could get to 240. I don't want to tell you get out of it because it could get to 240. But if I look left from a prior behavior, this hasn't been good for people who start longs here. Okay, so if I have longs, I would sell aggressive calls against them or leave runners like house money. Buy the next dip anywhere below 176. Zscaler is a scary stock from that perspective. And with that, we are done. Could I lose to Tesla? We did Tesla. Okay, Tesla is not an obvious entry point. Falling into support, yes. I think Tesla should lose 200, to be honest, because he just erased the reasons to buy the stock other than being a car company. And we're going into earnings report in 10 days. I would fade rallies into 235 in Tesla. I would fade this rally because you might do this. Oh, look at that. It hit our target perfectly. You might do that. So there is a scenario. I don't want to tell you to do it, but there is a scenario that this could unfold. And if you lose that one, you might do another leg lower. The target would be much lower than that, but I'm just saying maybe they're selling rallies now. No problem. I missed UAL. Is it on the list? Why didn't I pick it up? I don't see it. Oh, UAL. How did I miss UAL? I was arrowing down. Okay. Not an obvious entry point. There's no mystery there. Not an obvious entry point. Looks like a breakout, but these are airlines. I wouldn't chase it. it has a prior failure here, one or two of them. Okay. Finished fast today. Yeah, we did 100 and change. I think we may have had 100 flat. Yes.